I don't know, like, she's out there. You're the Florida version of Sex in the City, JD.
That's when I was smoking my cigars.
Don't be an asshole today.
Okay, little stormy. Gonna hope nothing's
Is
going
it?
on.
Oh, wow. Stormy in London.
Stormy, rainy, gray, cold. Yeah, man. It's October.
Would that be the foggy London weather you hear about, like the London fog, raincoats?
Yeah, yeah. It's just, you get all the weather in a day. Like, sunny, cloudy, a little bit of mist, back to sunny, overcast, dark, rain, storm, wind. It's like, what the hell?
It sounds like very cozy weather, like maybe a warm cider and,
it makes you want to cook and go up, watch TV.
Right.
It's been, it's been like this for like 2 days, and it's supposed to be like this all day tomorrow too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man.
That sounds good to me. Well, when it's still like 90 degrees here. Has your mom told you our weather is still?
Yeah. And she had the nerve. They went to Epcot today.
Like, oh, nice.
Oh my God. So yeah. I think it's the Wine and Food Fest.
Yes, probably. Yeah, this is about when they do it. Yeah, October.
Yeah. Okay. So here comes Haviland Stillwell. Ready?
Yeah.
Yay.
And action.
Comfortable here. Ugh.
Hey.
Look at you, pretty girl. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I was just, I don't know if you know my co-host, JD.
I don't, but now I do.
No. Hi.
JD Danner, local South Florida star.
I'm loving your background.
Oh, thanks. It's,
it's dreamy. It's very dreamy.
It's dreamlike. I'm loving your hair, JD.
Thank you.
You're so rock star.
Yes.
Why, thank you. I was just going to say I need a haircut, but maybe I'll wait now.
I would definitely not wait. I mean, I would wait. I would wait. Wait it out.
Wait it out, man. Wait it out. Yeah, I have I was just telling JD it's storming here in London, raining, windy, cold, gray, typical. And there's a washer. So I have rain frizz. I don't care. I don't like it's not really like Jay, you're the rock star, you're and Haviland, you're the actor. Me.
But you're here, and that's all that matters. You're here and you're queer, and everybody's got to get used to it.
Right, man. I feel like, you get a little complacent. I've been doing a lot of voiceover work, and that you can do in your pajamas. So I'm like, I don't have to go anywhere. I can just, do it from home. And it makes you get really complacent. I don't think I've been out of slippers like 2019.
And why did you?
I did notice hairstyle, rain frizz.
I did notice that it was like at the sort of ending of the pandemic when people were starting to kind of come out of their homes, that it's like the first time I wore heels anywhere. I was like, oh my God, what have I been doing? Like,
I can't even.
I used to do this every day. Why?
Honestly, I can't fathom it, especially like we obviously been staying in and everything. And then as we're slowly creeping out, like I'm doing it kind of like in like ripples, like just the neighborhood. And then just a little bit further into the city. And then like went into London for Hannah Einbinder's show in Soho.
I love Hannah.
So it's just like, trains,
People.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we have to keep that at a minimum.
We're all like a little agoraphobic now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like I'm the only one that's perfectly okay with it.
No, there's actually a lot of, I think there's a lot of introverts who, you know, sort of like the norm forever has been, you know, you got to get out there and you got to be social. And it's sort of like almost as though being introverted, there's something wrong with that because like, you know, you got to do this like everyone else is doing. And then I found like during the pandemic, a lot of people, you know, were sort of like, I'm actually more comfortable with this, you know? So
Yeah.
I'm sort of a mix of like intro and outro. So I'm kind of like, I really like being around people. So and it's still a little bit, you know, I was enjoying it to a degree, but then like, now when I'm around a group of people and I'm like, oh, there is a difference in actually sharing, you know, oxygen with people in a room.
Right. Like just a little standoffish, you know, like yeah. And the show we went to was at the Soho Theater, and it was in the basement, so it's really small and intimate. And they crammed people in, and we somehow got lucky to be sitting like in the back, which again, not far, probably like where my cabinet is, you know, not far. But on this long bench. And I don't know how they worked the seating, but we had the last two seats on the bench. And then there was like nobody really like, you know, within elbow room, you know, next to us. So I felt like we had space because there wasn't tables or chairs or anything even in front of us. So okay, this is all right. This is cool. I mean, I'm so shot up with boosters. I don't even to have this fear.
You're
like, if I get it at this point.
Yeah. So anyways, I was so happy that you were available to do this because I said to you, I'm, you know, really good friends with Jill and Lauren, and they were just here in May and they stayed with us and we had a really great time, and they gave me all the info about Under the Influencer and all this stuff. And I don't know why I think I mentioned that I wanted to get you on the show, and Jill was like, oh, no problem. I'll have a chat. And then they got back and they got really busy. And then they had all that stuff going on with their kitty. And I didn't want to be rude and ask, you know, so I was like, I'm just going to reach out myself. So super good. Yeah, that's great. I don't even know if I had you on the Lesbian Lounge podcast when Donna and I used to do that.
I don't think I ever did.
No.
If I did, it was like a blip or something.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, it's so but I've been following you forever, and I don't want that to sound stalkery or creepy.
It's not. I appreciate it. Thank you.
But
it's a little creepy and stalky, but people like that.
Like, I know where you live. You're like, and by following, I mean literally following.
Just a serial liker.
I'm just saying I'm in London, but really.
You could be right in West Hollywood right now. No, I would love it. No. But yeah, so anyways, I've been following you forever, and you've got such a broad scope of things that you do. Like, you got 2 solo albums, and I do remember, I think, maybe that was when we had you on the show. But I know I remember you know, like I remember the music and everything. Like, of course, I was all over that. But then you do voiceover stuff too. Did you do a cartoon? The Barbie thing's coming up. And then most recently I got you know Katie, right? Katie Hall?
Katie Hall?
Right?
Yeah, of course.
So Katie is another really good friend of mine. She's here at least once a week and everything, keeping me updated on all that cool LA stuff. And so I was talking to her, and she was like, there's so much more coming up. Like, there's so much more stuff coming up. But then so I'm following you, and I see this great, which we need so desperately right now, this great call to action for voting blue in 22. And that was really cool. And it just seems like you're never not busy. Lucky.
I mean, ideally, right? Like that's how we all want to be. I mean, well, I can't speak for everyone, but it's kind of, it's how I am for sure. So yeah.
So do you have like all the, like, this is what I always find is that everybody's like super, super busy. And then there's this tiny little lull and then everything comes out at once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do kind of feel like that. I mean, everything has been very weird since the pandemic, like I definitely felt like there was a pattern, prior to that, like for years, there was kind of a pattern of like, yeah, but also things even pre-pandemic, I think just the amount of kind of the marketing strategies around things and the hype and kind of just the game of how to release things and everything has been a little bit different. I mean, like you do voiceover, so it's like half the things we do that we're doing, like, even whether it's 10 pages of sides or like 3 lines in a commercial and we're signing NDAs,
Yeah.
it's like, it's like, does anyone really care about this random brand? Like, I don't know,
Yeah,
like,
it's so
is it
true.
going to really be like, ooh, Denise is going to tell me about this video game. I mean, but I get it with certain things. It's like, if it's a super well-known brand or something that they want to protect their intellectual property, I completely understand.
Right.
But but having said that, all the time it happens where it's like, you won't it throws people off a bit, because if you don't know a person, even when I do, close actor friends of mine or writer, director friends, I kind of won't see much being posted for a while in terms of professional stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'll get together with them. They're like, oh, I've been shooting 3 movies and, I've been doing all this stuff, but we're not allowed to post anything until, next year or 2 years from now when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So I do kind of feel like there's this weird balance that, you kind of have to balance like what you're allowed to talk about, what you're not allowed to talk about. And then also just keeping things going and being authentic, which thankfully I think we're kind of going in that direction of like not having to be quite as, and actually being discouraged from being sort of salesy about things and like being fake about things.
Right.
Which is nice, because I feel like that's kind of the way I was when I was like coming up as a super young actor. And I mean, I started when I was a kid. It was very much about like PR and like the image and all of this, which like it obviously still is. I think we're in control of it a little bit more now, at least.
Yeah.
It feels weird. Like it seems like there's one extreme and the other, and it's like there's old school, like all my social media stuff is filled with ads for Ticket to Paradise with George Clooney and Julia Roberts, right? So, and they did the Whirlwind press tour and they're doing the talk shows. And there's that old school way of getting on the press junket and pushing this movie, and getting it out there. And then there's this other like indie new wave kind of way of doing things where, like an actor will go on a talk show to promote a movie and yet they can't say anything about it. Like I always feel bad for the host, like, God, like they're, like at least Graham Norton will show you the trailer, but sometimes there's just not much they can say about it. And then there's that Marvel DC comic kind of, we can't really talk about it and we're not
right. Which I mean, again, that's also part of a sales strategy, so I don't know. I mean, honestly, at this point, I really love creating. I love collaborating with people who are creative and awesome and trustworthy, and good at what they do, obviously, and who are cheerleaders of me, because I am kind of a natural cheerleader. Like if I'm into what you're doing and I like you, I just sort of have that bubbly personality anyway. So I'm looking for that in return, with people I'm making stuff with. Not for them to like, I mean, everyone can't be as cheery as me, but hey, they can try. I'm just constantly looking for challenging, cool stuff to do, and it's like, I don't know, I was talking to a friend earlier today and we were talking about like horror comedy, like the horror comedy genre. And I'm like, that to me is just, those kind of projects I have done have been like such a ball, because it's like everyone knows you're in it together, you know, as the viewer, you're watching it, you know, it's not serious, you know, it's going to be ridiculous. And on set, I can attest for this, that the cast and the crew know that as well. So it's like, you're playing it really dead seriously, but like when the camera's cut, you know, it's like, oh my God, that was so stupid. I love it. Like, I'm obsessed, you know what I mean? Like,
that's,
you know,
the only kind of horror I would watch, because like, you know, I'm happy I made it through Halloween, you know, and not watch any scary things, not see any clips or trailers or nothing. So yeah, that felt good. But yeah, that's, if it's a comedy, like I'm all about that, man. Like that, just, you know, everything is better funny.
Yeah.
I like the scary movies when my own life gets scarier than any movie that could possibly be out there. That's when I can watch the horror stuff.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
We have enough of that in the
like
community.
Escapism.
Right.
You know?
Yes, exactly. You do your own social media? Do you handle that on your own, or do you have people that do that for you to kind of like control what gets out there about your work?
No, I primarily do my own. I've had periods of time that, you know, things have been busier, that I've had other people kind of help me, but I don't ever like to be speaking as myself and, you know, not know what's going out there, you know? So even when I have had people kind of helping me, they're still like, hey, I'm just going to send it to you before I post anything, just so if something doesn't sound like, authenticity is really important to me. I think first and foremost, just because I think in general, that's part of just my organizing principles. You know, how my parents raised me to be, you know, like that's important to me. And I think it's important as an artist, and, you know, I think integrity is very key, but also I think that's, to me, you know, I've been out for basically my entire adult life. And that was a really conscious choice. And I know that sacrifices were made, and there were opportunities I for sure missed out on because I was out. But that was a conscious choice. And I did that both for my own personal freedom and also to like light the way for others, and hopefully be okay for others, so that it was like, at least there was one example, you know, like at least, even though there were more, but I mean, there weren't that many, honestly. Like there were only a few of us out there at that time who were like really publicly out there. And so, you know, I think because of that, it's also just authenticity is really important. So I don't know. I've had a love-hate with social media, honest, over the years. I mean, I think everybody, you know,
I
agree.
I totally had that same, like what you were saying, like I didn't have a lot of time to do my social media. I had a show that I did last month that was the first all original show with my music and my stories behind the music. And I hired someone to be a publicist for me and kind of like help with social media also. And Denise knew like when I didn't write it, you know, and like she was trying to help me, but I couldn't just have her write it without showing it to me. And then I would see it, and it wasn't the way I would say it. So I know what you mean by authenticity.
I would say
it wasn't me.
Right? Did you mean? Is this you? Did you mean to say that?
She texted me. What was that you wrote? That's not you, right? Is that girl? And I'm like, it just didn't work for me.
Like, you know, and they don't like. I mean, people are doing their best, and obviously, if you've hired somebody, it's because you know, you're trying something out, you know, like you were trying to broaden your audience and also have more bandwidth. I mean, it actually, you know, artistically, it does actually take time away from like what we actually want to be doing.
Right.
I mean, like in this day and age with cancel culture, and you know, that leads me to, I was going to ask you how the response has been with your video. You know, and in politics, like I feel like everybody kind of tiptoes into it, and they get in up to about their knees, and they're like, oh, and then turn around and get out of it. So I was wondering how that went over, because I mean, I definitely put it out there, retweeted it, put it all over my socials and stuff, and I didn't, you know, but I think too, you know, people that follow me know me, and they know what my politics are, you know, so I don't really have like a lot of red haters, as I like to call them. And you know, I probably lost like 5 followers on Twitter, but whatever. I don't care.
Don't need them.
Do you get any of that flack back?
You know, I have been basically in progressive politics literally since birth. I grew up in Georgia and my father was a politician.
Really?
So so before I was even born, my dad was a city alderman, which in Savannah is like city council. And he was the mayor pro tem, and he was at one point head of the elections board. And, you know, so he and my mom were very much like a political power couple in Savannah, you know, when I was a kid, my brother was growing up as well. So it was very much like ingrained in us about democratic politics, equality, you know, women's rights, pay equity, you know, as I got a little older, gay rights. And then I was like, wait, that feels right to me. Wait a minute. Something paints there. You know, even down to, I mean, we're talking like the late 80s and the 90s, you know, like when we're talking like even teaching about racial equality and kind of like not just sort of turning a blind eye. So honestly, like the first political videos I made were when I was like 5. You know, like there's clips of me on the news that I'm like, vote for my daddy, he's the Democrat. You know, like, I mean, you know, so to me, it's so much a part, like I was basically volunteering and working in politics before I was even working in film and TV, which I started working in film, theater, and TV when I was 8. So, you know, it's like politics is so steeped in me just as much because my mother was, they're my dogs. You're gonna hear them. So disco and punk. So there are 2 little musical dogs. Yeah. So to me, it's like, it's very natural for me and it's important to me. And now more than ever, you know, I mean, all the way up through like, obviously the no hate campaign, you know, marriage equality. I was very involved in that and I mean, to me, it's like, I feel like all of us, whatever, everyone has a platform now. Like when I was growing up, I was like, whatever platform I have when I'm older, I hope I just have a big one so I can reach a lot of people. And it's like, you know, this was pre-social media, right? So now it's like all have a platform, even if it's like 50 people, you know, you have a chance to get your voice heard. And people, that is now because we're so flooded with misinformation and fake news. And, I mean, really ridiculous, horrible things are happening that, you know, I'm honestly, very concerned for our country and I'm very concerned for our democracy. So, you know, it angers me and it worries me that, you know, so much time is being wasted on debating about if a woman can have a medical procedure and, you know, and I mean, it's just, and, you know, if people are allowed to get married who are adults and love each other. I mean, there's just so much time and money being wasted when it's like, but what about homeless? You know, what about the homeless issue? What about healthcare? What about
gun safety?
What about people just feeling like they have a little bit of breathing room to, you know, make money and be able to like support themselves and their families and like live a peaceful, happy life? You know, I mean, I'm talking simple things, you know? And I think in this election, and I'm saying this now because I know you guys are releasing this prior to the election, like I really can't say it strongly enough. Please, if you're in the States, please vote. You know, get in your ballots and please vote. This is absolutely so important. And I know I'm probably preaching to the choir. I'm sure anybody who listens to your podcast is like, I already voted 2 weeks ago, you know. That's great if you did. But I mean, honestly, I mean, encourage people like that. I just, if anything, in all of the like political volunteering and videos and whatever that I've done over time, you know, the biggest thing to me is like whatever we can do to reach the people in our network, and then now retweeting and whatever. But then honestly, I've had a lot of success my whole life in just literally having a one-on-one conversation with somebody and being like, okay, I hear you, but like, why do you think that? And then kind of seeing them realize within the conversation, like, oh, that I am not actually a horrible person, you know, like
yeah,
I
you know,
actually
sometimes
do agree, like what you're saying is logical and it makes sense. And it actually is more in line with my Christian values of loving thy neighbor, you know, or whatever. So, I mean, I just think like, I know I've gone on a big tangent here, but it's so important to me. And,
no, it totally
you know, and I just feel like we all should really be out there doing whatever we can to just, you know, vote.
How funny that like you got to clear all that out of your mind and then go to work, you know, and do something that's like, you know, like pretend. It's like, you know, acting is kind of like pretend. But are there projects coming up? I don't want to put you on the spot, but are there projects coming up that you can talk about?
I mean, sort of. Yes, there are. So yes, I mean, there's some stuff that's currently out. There's, you know, animated shows that are currently out that I'm part of, which I'm very excited about. There's a couple of video games coming out in the next,
really?
Like 6 months that I'm very excited about, and I can't say anything about yet because they're big franchises. But I'm so pumped, and I keep being like, when is it coming out? Because I'm, you know, it's sort of that thing of, you mentioned Barbie. It's like, that was my sort of break into voiceover, which was about 12 years ago, when we started that project. And I mean, I grew up playing Barbies. I love playing Barbies. I had like a whole village set up, you know. So yes, there's some really cool stuff. I would ask, like, if you guys, I mean, anybody who listens to your podcast, like, you guys should be following me because you're my people. So,
yeah, exactly. It's true.
People. I'm really into like sharing other people, other queer women, non-binary people, and like sharing, you know, I mean, so many of us know each other. It's kind of like you're saying, your connection with Jill and Lauren. I've known them for years. We have multiple projects we're working on that are currently, you know, in various stages of production and in the future. So yeah, the stuff I can for sure talk about regarding actually working with Jill and Lauren. You mentioned Under the Influencer, which is currently in post. My wife Reed and I have a company, and we joined together, and we were executive producers on Under the Influencer, which I'm really excited about. The film, it's very forward thinking. It really deals with kind of the NFT, the world of Web3, Film 3, and Bitcoin and crypto, but also it's a lesbian story as well. So it's kind of like, it appeals to everybody. So that
it's so forward. Like, that's, you know, I see these, like, you know, Twitter chats going on all the time about NFT stuff, and it's the next step. And I feel like you guys are ahead of the 8 ball on this one. You know, it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely trying to learn, and Lauren and Jill have been awesome, you know, in sort of bringing us into that world and kind of teaching us, because I agree. I think Hollywood has a lot of evolving to do at the moment. I think, honestly, it really started with the Me Too movement, which was so great that it happened, but also I think so just such a monumental change in the industry.
A big shift.
For really, huge shift. And I really think since then, and then the pandemic, I think that everyone's kind of trying to figure out, like, what's the standard going forward, you know, even with
the next move.
It's like, you know, I was sort of wistfully thinking, like, remember when we used to like go into rooms and audition and like talk to people about their script and like get directed in an audition instead of just sort of like being on an island in your living room or in your self-tape space. Like, I guess this is the choice I'll make with this character, and maybe they'll like it, but maybe it's totally wrong, you know. But yeah, I mean, so I think there are a lot of changes, but there's something that actually I totally want to tell you guys about, because your listeners might be into this. So there's a platform called Decentralized Pictures that I put a short film up on that I wrote called Literal Nightmare. The lead character is played by myself, and she is queer. And the other two characters are also female or non-binary. They've yet to be cast. And yeah, and I won this competition. And so we are definitely going to be making that short, hopefully in the next few months. And I'm currently looking for sponsors and I'm looking for resources. So we'll be shooting in LA. It's a 7-page script. It's very minimal, but, you know, to me, it's like, we're out there making content that's, you know, that honestly, I mean, it's everybody will watch it because all of us gay people have been watching straight content forever and enjoying it just fine, you know?
Yeah.
So, but, you know, it's nice to see representations of ourselves, right?
It matters.
Like,
I hate it. Sounds so cliche. It's like it's matters.
True though. It's true.
I
yeah.
Anything with a queer character,
It's
except
true.
a horror movie. But I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, like
So if you know, if anybody listening, if this is like that sounds intriguing, and they have funds to donate, or if they want to do a sponsorship through their company, or you know, there's lots of different ways to get involved. So I'm very available on social media. I look at DMs, I look at PMs, I look at all of the things.
Good.
All of my socials. And then the other two things, which are on the same platform, which Jill and Lauren are working on, Under the Influencer is actually in a competition currently on that platform to win $100,000 to go into.
I got that.
To go into finishing funds, to make the post-production process even better, and go into film festivals and all of that to really get out there and have a really great chance of getting worldwide distribution, which I know is a huge problem because I'm hearing that there's a lot of parts of the world with huge female queer communities and they just don't have access. You know, it's like we have the content, but it's being blocked for whatever reason, or it's just they don't have the access. Another project that Jill and I co-star in is on this site. It's called Bad Habits. And she and I play white collar criminals who are thrust into prison, but oops, the prison doesn't have room and we have to go into a nunnery. And hijinks ensue. So you can actually we've done some teaser videos that are just like little suggestions of what's to come in the show, but that is a prize of $40,000, which if we win that, we would do basically kind of a pilot / short version to then, you know, and push it forward and make an entire series. So, you know, it's sort of like Reno 911 meets Orange is the New Black meets something you've never seen before. So yeah, I play I'm like a Ponzi scheme, like, you know, rich, like I've been selling anti-aging suppositories. And Jill's character is a very successful madam in a prostitution ring in DC. So,
oh my God,
you know, lots of political stuff involved in there, but all comedy, all really, really funny writing. Dara Nye is also on the writing team of that, which is
I love her.
Love her, like institution in queer writing. So there's a lot of stuff coming up, and kind of like what my whole thing right now, and like why I was extra excited to come on here is that I know your listeners specifically are very, primarily probably queer women and non-binary people. And, my whole thing is like, I feel like it's go time for all of us. Like there is an audience, everybody's out there. We want a lot of content. We want to uplift a lot of people. We want to see a lot of different diversity in terms of ethnicity, in terms of body types, in terms of age, all of the things. And like the more things that are out there, the more opportunities for all of us to uplift each other. So I really
nowadays you have so much more freedom, with streaming services and, different ways to
exactly.
You're not like at the, you don't have network executives saying we can't have a non-binary person. Nobody knows what it is, Yeah,
and in fact, like networks they now are having mandates, and they're actively sort of, some of them want to, and some of them probably just have to, like they are wanting to, hire, and they're wanting to push, this diversity of gender diversity as we kind of all in the mainstream kind of learn about it. But of course, still, you know, there's so much discrimination and there's so much, you know, just kind of ignorance about what even that is.
Yeah. Yeah. They're taking like total baby steps because they're still a little bit unsure about it and they have to check boxes, you know, but then you have shows like the new queers, the new queer as folk was like, oh my God, they went right down the list. Like boom,
They
boom,
did.
boom, boom, you know, and it was like a little bit on the obvious side. Yeah. And same with like the Sex and the City reboot. I felt like, okay. Like, all right, you know, like I remember when I came my you know, like of course, like most of the time, you know, like well, for me, it was like everybody went, oh yeah, thanks for telling me, like we didn't already know, you know, like that kind of thing.
That was everybody me knew, too.
You know, like everybody.
That's funny.
There was no element of surprise. There was no catching anybody off. One friend, and this is like a Philly-based hardcore Italian who I've been friends with like it since my teens. And when I told her, she was like, "Did you ever have a crush on me?" And I'm like, "No, absolutely not. Why would you?" She was like, "What do you mean?"
About her.
Yeah,
she goes, "What do you mean? Is it my big fat thighs? What is it?"
Because obviously you like all women, right? Like,
oh my God, I didn't know. I'd never crush on you. She was so offended. She was so offended. It was hysterical. But yeah,
I feel like I think we've all had like at least one friend who's like, clearly you like me, right? Like, listen, I just need you to know.
Yeah.
Like, I guess if you want to make out, we can. And you're like, I don't
no, yeah. But
that's not on the table.
She went through every physical attribute that she liked about herself and thought that was why I didn't have a crush. Is it my teeth? Is it my fat thighs? What was it? Is it my frizzy hair? I was like, oh my God, stop it. But yeah, it's we've come a long way from that. But you know, I think when a diverse character is like interwoven into the story, you know, it feels organic, you know, to us. And then there's a way of doing it where it feels really obvious to us. You know, like when I was watching that new Queer as Folk thing, I was just like, wow, like they went, you know, brown, Latina, gay, disabled, just, I mean, went like right down the thing. And it was, you know, a lot to take in. And I thought, oh, maybe this isn't the way for people to get comfortable with it. But then I thought, you know what? Shove it in people's faces. You know, I mean, we're at that point now. Like, just
also,
shove it.
That show is meant for the queer community. Like, I think that is
you expect,
or like it was back in the day when, you know, the originals were made.
Yeah. So good. Those are so good.
It was, I didn't care for it at first because I was watching the one from 20 years ago still, because I watched the reruns, you know. I watched things 20 years later, but I watched it, you know, when it was new too. But they grew on me, the characters. I didn't like it at first. I didn't care for the whole thing because I liked the original people, and I just kind of liked. But it kind of like after like 2 episodes, I was upset they weren't doing another season. I thought they would. Sure.
Yeah, I was like, I probably could have got into this. Yeah,
just when you're getting into it, you know, when you're starting to like really connect with the people, they weren't doing another season. I was surprised about that.
I would love to be able to play, you know, I'm ready now. I feel like, okay, I've paid my dues. I feel like I'm ready now to, you know, to be on a hopefully, you never know when you sign up for something, but hopefully a long running series where it's like you really grow with the character, and it really is a collaboration, you know, with the writers developing things, and especially if it's a current show, you know, if it were a show where I was playing a lawyer or something, for instance, and it's like we were even able to deal with current events going on or something historical that would be relevant to now, to kind of as a teaching tool. I'm really into that kind of stuff. So
that's you know, that is the dream, isn't it? Oof.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my cousin's been out there for like 30 years now. So you know, just keep plugging away at them guest spots, and you know, and it's funny, like the whole family, like, oh my God, Greg's gonna be on the I can't remember, Greg's gonna be on The Nanny. Really? What's he playing? Thief number 2 in the lineup.
Yeah. You know what? Greg is still getting residual checks for that one episode. He's probably still getting $50, $100 here and there, like even today. So
we tease him about it all the time. Yeah, it's the truth, man.
I mean, listen, I did Magic Mike XXL, and I was on set for a week. You know, it was a big sort of job, but not a big character in the film itself. And then it ended up being kind of cut down or whatever. But it's like, I know a couple of friends who were in the film too. And every time, like, I mean, we get like nice checks sometimes because it's like, it's a really popular movie. And it's like, oh, this little, you know, kind of minor role ends up being very lucrative over time, you know?
You know, I just read about this merger of like Tello Films and Diva Media. And that was like, Kristen Baker was on our show and she was telling us about, you know, Baker Films, and she does these great lesbian rom-com Christmas movies and all that kind of stuff. And now merging with Diva Media Group, it's like, wow, like that's, you know, that's pretty cool. Like that, I remember back in the day when there was only Wolf Video, you know, OML and, you know, so yeah, it's like, you know, yeah, there's like, I do feel like something's brewing, you know, like something's
when brewing. Someone makes it, then you're like the overnight success and you've been out there for 20 years doing it, 15, 20 years. And then suddenly you're the, you know, the overnight success, but it's taken 20 years to get there. Then it's like, oh, she was in that and she was in that movie and she was the thief number 2 and, you know, whatever.
In The Nanny in 1997.
Then all of that becomes relevant, right? Then all of that is important.
Like my cousin says, like it's all networking, isn't it? Like
it is, and it's also like what I always say, like you kind of started this conversation by saying like I'm involved in a lot of different facets of the industry, and that's true, but I always think, because this is something everyone always asks me about, that everyone, you know, always talks about that, which I think is so interesting because to me, yes, that's true, but also I feel like everything is connected. You know, so something that I'm doing kind of more on the business side of things really helps inform me, and also to not take things personally when it's like I don't get a role or something, to kind of understand like, okay, well, that really, you know, I think a lot of actors, it's like, especially when they're first starting out, every audition they don't book is just such a heartbreak, you know, and it's like, So, and you know, you start to kind of understand over time, like it's rarely about you. It's, you know, rarely about you. And, you know, that's so weird because most of the people in our families and such aren't in the entertainment industry. And so for them, when they're looking for a new job, they go on, you know, 4, 5, 6 job interviews, and then they get one and that's their job for 10 years or however long, you know, so they don't understand this like constant, you know, grind of like, not, you know, just a couple of auditions for like big jobs, but like constant steady stream of auditions that may be like, you know, for one voiceover session or one day or 1 week, you know, and that's the life, but also it's like, that's okay. I love it.
That's a lot of adapting though, you know, like it really, like
you have to get a thick skin.
Like a new set, you know, new people, new production crew, your new part, you know, like you said, and not having that time to connect with the character and bring something of your own to the character and all that. It's no accountant's going to get that.
But and it's true. It is rarely about you, but it's very hard to really, you know, grasp that. But like when you've done it for a long time, you get it, that it's not about you. But it could be like with music, you know, if you're trying to pitch a song, maybe the person had a terrible day, had a fight with their wife, and nothing here that day they're going to like, no matter what you give them. But I just had that little audition thing that I told Denise about for this. I think it was some kind of reality show or some kind of something on Hulu. And you know, they loved me on the first. I couldn't do anything wrong on the first audition. They loved everything about me. Second callback, I don't know what happened. It was like, you know, they loved me in the beginning of it. And then I said one thing that I guess I didn't understand the question, and I didn't answer it the way they wanted to hear the answer. And even though I fixed it, there was no going back. I told Denise.
Describe the lady's face. Describe the lady's face.
The first casting director's face who loved me. Okay. The second meeting, she was there, and the other guy, her face looked like she was smelling something bad. Like I was like,
oh no,
what's going on with her? Is she zoning out? Like I didn't know what was going on with her, because here they love me, right? Like I was so confident. I just didn't think I could do anything wrong. They loved my look. They loved my story. And then here she's got this face. And I told Denise, I was the reason for that face, I realized, because she goes, JD, that's not the way you answered the question at the last, or what you told me at the last conversation we had. Like I'm rooting for you here. I want you to get that. And I'm thinking, what the heck did I say the last time? Because as far as I know, I'm saying the same thing.
Then she was all in her head.
Of course.
And so now I'm in a vortex. Like no matter what the guy is telling me now, I'm still stuck on, what did I say last time? And now they hate me. And how am I going to fix this? And, I don't know. Yes. I don't think I'll ever hear from them, needless to say, but it was just funny. Oh, man. Because it is probably not about me,
No, I'm sure it wasn't. But also, I mean, it's like, that happened to me in the past few months. I was up for like a big national commercial, and it was this kind of like, one of the parts of the thing was like, it was a comedy, and they said it was like, like a 90s sitcom type vibe or whatever. And like the girl is in the car and she's like giving a hard time to her husband. And it's like those 90s sitcoms where it's like, the like attractive wife with this kind of dumpy husband who was like a doofus, right. And he's like, where are we going? And she's like, okay, and she's like a little bit like, and so I was, and so in the first call, it was like, brilliant, hilarious, whatever. And then I go in the second one and I can hear someone, I'm in a room, in an actual room, which is so rare and so lovely, but I can hear like a director, somebody didn't know who they were, didn't introduce themselves, like on Zoom, and I can't see them. They're just somewhere in the room, and they're like, then I do it one time and they're like, there are the dogs again. And they're like, this is a comedy. This is, remember, this is a comedy. I had done it exactly the same way,
Right?
I'm like, right? Sure, absolutely, sure thing, and I'm like, and then I took the note and I changed it, but it's like, you're right. You're thinking, you're having to like, I mean, but that is how it is. I mean, that's so many times in auditions and in jobs. It's like somebody gives you a note and you have 30, 50, 75 people watching you, and they're just like, everybody's doing their work and time is money. And it's like, you better just take the note and do it, and like not take it personally, and just like do your best,
and not think about it too much, because it's just, that's funny with the 90s sitcoms. That's true. They were the really attractive wife and the dumpy, overweight. And like he was always kind of dumb, or like just kind of doofusy, and like she was always really smart.
That's what I always say. It's the King of Queens formula. The wife was hot and she's way smarter. And
even like on Seinfeld, or like it was like always like the woman was the smart one, kind of, So, which is like, kind of like in life.
So true. So true. Oh my God.
Yes.
Kidding. There's lots of nice men out there.
There are. It's true.
There's a lot of lovely men out there. Don't you guys feel like that? Like you always have to give a disclaimer and be like, I don't hate men. Like
I have to remind my wife.
Very nice men.
Yeah.
Yes.
My wife.
I mean, truthfully, a lot of my best friends are men, mostly gay men, but men just the same. And,
I would say, man, like one of my best friends was my ex-husband. Like he was like a brother. So I know that there are good ones out there.
Oh yeah, a lot of my best friends are former Broadway dancers, and I'm just like, I think that like they know how to treat a woman. Like their instinct is to lead and to like let the woman go first. Like their instinct is that they're very aware of the women in the room, because they've been trained. It's so in their upbringing and their training of like how to treat a woman physically, you know, that they don't even think of, like, I mean, this is a generalization, but I really do, like, we all sort of joke like Haviland has a type, because it's like, you know, 3 or 4 of my like very best friends were like multiple Broadway show, you know, incredible dancers, and, you know, are now doing other amazing things in their life. So, you know,
so you're everybody needs a gay best friend, and yours just happened to be a type. Yeah. I need one of those here big time.
Yeah.
I don't know many. I don't think I know a lot of.
You don't know any gay men?
I know two. Yeah, I know two. I'm
you only know 2 gay men?
Over here.
Oh, okay. I'm like, in the world?
Your friends that you go out to dinner with, right?
Don't you have your friends? Yeah, Eric and Sam. It's true. Woo, I got nervous there. Listen, man, we've kept you for like an hour. I had no idea we were going to go this long. We will let you go. It's been so fun, and I'm so happy. And just give the website one more time where people can go and look for Under the Influencer and all that.
It's decentralized.pictures, and you can go and search Under the Influencer, and you can also search Bad Habits. And on the Bad Habits one, you can see a video of me, as well as this show's friends, Jill and Lauren. And it's really funny and crazy. And, you know, hopefully you guys will like it, and you can just vote for it. You just give it, you know, 10s across the board, obviously.
You're literally rating them. So
it's
really easy, really easy.
Yeah, it's really easy.
Want people to do it, because that's a fuck ton of money.
Please do. We could use the support. And like I said, if anybody listening is interested in working with me via sponsorship, via you know, there's all kinds of ways to get involved with my short. Please you know, reach out to me directly through my social media. You can also hit me up through my website, which is my name, havilandstillwell.com, or my Instagram. I'm sure you guys will link to all that stuff.
Right. You're Haviland.
Yeah. Right. You're good about that. So I don't have to sit and like list them and waste your precious time listing my links.
No, we will post them all for you. And, you know, good luck with all of it. Like, I really, really, really hope that, that you guys win those load of money.
Yeah, we do too. And I mean, obviously you'll see, you follow us. So, we'll be all constantly updating our stuff. So
fantastic. Well, listen, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much. Go tend to those dogs.
Yes,
I will. I'm going to handle them.
All right, take it easy. Thank you again.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Why do you always run back to the love you
like never stop chasing your dreams?
You're addicted to her touch. That's true.
See?
And I confess, my addiction is you.
We drank way too much whiskey.
Don't ask me why I'm here tonight. I had to take this midnight drive to find you. And as I come in through the door, I see her dancing on the floor beside you. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. You look at me and our rage.